people who have disabilities. It'll affect the LGBTQ community. It'll affect minority-owned business. It's not like these companies are rebranding or going back and reworking their DE&I programs and or policies. They're completely tossing them. Some people are not in favor of people getting things without merit. This stuff that's offensive to parents because minors are affected by this, we're not going to do this anymore.
When you say Harris, nobody knows who that you're talking about. Yeah? No, nobody has any idea. Harris. Hey, where's Harris? They know Kamala. They know Kambabla. That was the nickname I used for a while, but I don't use it anymore because everyone thought I was just mispronouncing her name. I wasn't. Kambabla.
Fox News The 5 covers Walmart walking back DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. It appears that Walmart is tossing DE&I policy out of the window. Welcome to CozyCorner TV. I am your host, Karen Smith, call me Q, and we are on the corner, ladies and gentlemen. One of the biggest retailers in America is tossing DE&I out of the window. What do you guys think about that? It seems to be a lot of companies, large companies rather, in America that are walking away from DE&I. I'm very curious to know what you guys think about this. Fox News covered it, and we're going to take a look at what they have to say about one of the biggest retail in America's doing this.
This may be the most fatal blow to DEI yet. The world's largest retailer, Walmart, becoming the latest company to walk back diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. It will not renew a racial equity center. They will make sure that they don't feature sexual and transgender products aimed at minors, and they won't give priority treatment to suppliers based on race or gender. Here's Walmart's CEO getting the lowdown on why they're calling it quits.
Now, a lot of people may hear this and think all of this sounds really terrible. I can see where the not having a preference for doing business with genders might rub some the wrong way. Here's where I think this is a win at. Not promoting transgender products or items towards minors. So they're specifically saying like, hey, this stuff that's offensive to parents because minors are affected by this, we're not going to do this anymore. Now, walking away from DE&I is saying other things, but I think this is one of the most concerning things over, I would say, at least the last decade, but definitely 4 years, have been the most prevalent among minors that are concerning to parents. So I would say that this is a win, at least this part of it, right?
We've been on a journey and we continue to be on a journey. And what we're trying to do is to ensure that every customer, every associate feels welcome here to shop and to feel like they belong. We're going to continue to make the best decisions we can that makes everyone, our customers, our associates, feel like this is an environment they can shop in and thrive in.
So that was the Walmart CEO. I really feel like that was a cop-out answer. The way he answered it, I was like, okay, like you didn't really answer the question, but I get it. He's saying that we're striving to continue to make Walmart a place where everyone can feel comfortable shopping at. So you might ask yourself, well, why would Walmart feel like walking away from D&I would make more people or some people comfortable shopping there? Well, this could be because they might have some far right or very conservative leaning customers or big wigs or shareholders, whatever it is, that feel like, hey, this whole D&I thing has got out of control over the last couple of years. So we don't want any parts in it. So anybody that's a part of this or that's supporting this, we're actually thinking about pulling out, walking away, not shopping here anymore. So, you know, I can understand why the CEO is saying this is one reason why we're considering doing this or why we're moving in this direction, because, hey, we want to make everyone feel comfortable. And some people may feel uncomfortable with companies that subscribe to or partake in D&I programs and or policies, because some people are not in favor of people getting things without merit. Without merit, you'll see one of the news anchors on here say that, which I think is rightfully so. I really don't care what race you are. If you didn't work for it, you don't deserve it. If you're white and you didn't work for it, you don't deserve it. If you're black and you didn't work for it, you don't deserve it. So I could understand why the CEO came out with such, I guess we could say, generic response, but I still thought it was a pretty cop-out response.
Jesse, the rollback here is obviously part of it seems like a continuum of companies doing this. Which part of it do you think the country is? I think the country doesn't mind diversity, but what is it that is so, you think, reprehensible and people are revolted by when they think about these programs?
Because it's bad for morale and it hurts the product. You don't want to be scored.
Now, when he says it's bad for morale and it hurts the product, that's talking to some of what I was saying when I'm saying people are not really in favor of some people getting things or being awarded certain things and or positions, whatever have you, not based on merit, meaning they didn't work for it. It could lower morale and it could be bad for a product because some people will feel like that is not fair. Why are you giving certain groups of people or certain categories of people things and or preference just simply because of those categories, not even that they worked hard to get there or they're a reputable company or person. You're just doing it simply out of DE&I, and that's attractive. That's unattractive, rather.
By Human Rights Watch. If, for instance, Jesse Waters Primetime, my staff, great chemistry, great camaraderie. Some people say it's like workplace utopia. We have no harassments, no bullying, no complaints that I'm aware of.
And lots of snacks.
Lots of snacks. We have women, we have Greeks, we have Jewish workers, Spanish workers.
Greeks?
We may have gays. I don't ask, I don't tell.
I don't ask, I don't tell.
African American. So it's really a rainbow coalition.
0.1%.
And we're doing a great job this year. Only the first.
He's hilarious. But to his credit, he says to his workplace, he's referring to specifically, and he's saying, listen, I have Spanish people, I have Greeks, I might have gays, I don't ask, don't tell, which is a little bit of a shot to the military's prior policy to people in the military who are homosexual. So he's just saying, hey, I have all these different groups of people at my place where I work, so I'm kind of already doing that without somebody housing my business, if you will.
First year, but doing a great job, nothing to compare it to. What happens? Human Rights Watch comes in and starts scoring my show, saying I don't have to write bathrooms, right, all these quotas. I have to rearrange the whole show, waste all this time and effort. That's going to hurt the on-air product, where we're supposed to be going against Democrats. Then that suffers. I don't mind if companies do this independently. I mean, because they have shareholders and employees and customers. Let them make the decision, not Human Rights Watch, because all Human Rights Watch is a place you grease to get better scores. Yeah. All of a sudden, you're hiring the right people.
So he's saying, because of the way Human Rights Watch tends to run things, he's saying, I'm already kind of doing a lot of this DE&I stuff anyway without having all of that policy kind of being shoved in my face. So now human rights comes in, and because I don't have certain bathrooms, or maybe I don't have enough, black people that work there, joking that he's 0.1% black, which is hilarious. But he's saying now they're going to come in and I'm going to have to make all these adjustments and do all of these things, which takes away from production and productivity, and that's a waste of time when I'm supposed to be serving the consumer.
People from Human Rights Watch, and then, or maybe donating to Human Rights Watch to get better scores. It's a recipe for corruption.
Man, what are your thoughts about this?
Well, I think that there's Robbie Starbuck, who has been doing a lot of work going to company, who have said, you know what, you're right, actually. And I think that a lot of CEOs wanted to do this, and the global CEO, Doug McMillan from Walmart, very impressive guy who got in front of this, and it's not like they are rebranding their DEI programs. They are eliminating them and saying, we're going to focus on the consumer, and the people who try to sell through Starbucks and try to make a better business. And I think that's what people want on the merits.
So it's like she said, it's not like these companies are rebranding or going back and reworking their DE&I programs and or policies. They're completely tossing them, and they're saying, you know what, we're actually not going to focus on this. We're just going to focus on the consumer and selling the product. And she's saying, I think that's what people want, and I would agree to some extent. DE&I, a lot of this stuff over the years has gotten completely out of control. So a lot of it has boiled down to really celebrating a lot of bad things, like celebrating disparities, celebrating racial differences and gender differences, but not in a good way, more so in a way where it's like, hey, this is not a great thing. We need to make sure that we're doing this for these groups of people and for these things. And a lot of people who are running businesses, they're saying, hey, we're already trying to be fair in doing these things without you shoving all of this DE&I stuff in our face. So to what the last news anchor said, the gentleman, let companies make this independently. I agree with him. You know, if they want to make that independently and that's their choice, and they're saying, hey, we want to go down this right, then I think that companies have the right to make that decision independently. I don't think it would work well if they tried to force it on every company to necessarily go that route, because I think some companies really like what DE&I is doing for them and their company, but there are other companies that are like, hey, we're tossing this out of the window, and she's saying that that's what some people actually want.
Charlie, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the problem with it, the reason that they call it diversity and equity is because people generally, Americans like diversity and they like equality anyway, if not maybe equity. And so they use that phrase. The problem is when you codify it, it becomes this monster, like Jesse's talking about, that kind of takes over everything. And then you wind up with a situation where you're celebrating racial differences and victimhood and all this stuff. It is so deeply anti-American. And I think that we're going to look back at this. The idea that Walmart, the largest retailer, was this invested in this, and it took them this long to realize this is really stupid. Let's just sell products. I think is going to kind of, I think we're going to look back at this and kind of laugh and marvel that this fever took such a powerful grip over the country, and it took so long for people to recognize it. It really is an American. People like their diversity and equality in their personal life, and they make it work that way.
Your Honor?
And just to his defense, when he's saying that, you know, we're going to look back on this and say that a bunch of this is stupid, I don't think in any way, shape, or form he's trying to be facetious and say, hey, we don't care about diversity, equity, or inclusion, because he said it at the beginning. Most Americans, we do care about that. We do want that. But celebrating all of the racial disparities and the victimhood, it's where it's kind of gotten out of hand. And if companies are saying, hey, you know, we kind of just want to toss this out the window and focus on the consumer, he's saying there's nothing wrong with that. You know, all of that shouldn't be, you know, thrown in a company's face where the company's main focus is the consumer. Now, some people are going to argue, well, what does that do for certain employees that want to work there? What if one company throws this out the window and they start to lean towards maybe they're only hiring a lot of white employees and no black employees at all? Hey, I know that that's going to be a concern with some of this happening. And I know that racially it's going to be an uproar, because I've already seen one lady make a video. I believe it was some sort of, maybe it was a TikTok video, and she was saying, why didn't you guys tell me that Walmart decided to throw out diversity, equity, inclusion? And she goes, well, Walmart, I have something for you. I'm going to diversify my funds and stop shopping here. So you are going to see that. I've seen a couple of people cover this, and they're saying in droves, black people are leaving Walmart, when that's not necessarily what's happening. Right? DE&I is an umbrella, so it's not like it's going to only affect black people. It's going to affect people who have disabilities. It'll affect the LGBTQ community. It'll affect minority business owners. So it will affect a large group or category of people. It's not going to affect just black people. And that's where I thought the pandering was just simply ridiculous.
I think it's one of the reasons that Donald Trump is president. Interested in having others succeed if it's not based on merit. I mean, we are innately fighters. Americans are. We fight our way to the top. We want the person to get the trophy who won whatever it is. They don't want a participation trophy.
Right.
But I think what's the most interesting, as I was looking at this, is that white, black, and Hispanic workers are more likely to say companies pay too much attention to DEI in 2024 than they did in 2023. So even, the minorities are starting to say this is too much. And amazingly, 8% of black workers in 2024 say there's too much attention to DEI, compared to 3% in 2023. And if you were...
Right, so where she's saying that a lot of black workers and minority employees are saying, hey, there's too much attention on DE&I, that the numbers are actually up this year than they were from 2023. Now, I've had some people have this conversation with me and say, well, I think that's a lie. Like, why would minorities say that there's too much focus on DE&I if a lot of people want that? Well, again, DE&I is an umbrella. It's not that it's only minorities who want that. Really, it would be people who, I guess you could say, would sway more towards liberalism, and they would want something like that. Not that conservatives wouldn't want it at all, but they probably wouldn't want it blown up to what we've seen, I would say, definitely in the last 5 years. So I'm definitely curious to know, what do you guys think about this? Like, DE&I seems to cause a lot of uproar in the workplace when we talk about it. I talk about it all of the time with some of my coworkers, and rest assured someone will get their feathers ruffled by talking about DE&I. But I'm curious to know, what do you guys think about this with some of these larger companies in America tossing it out the window? Granted, companies are probably going to have the chance to do this independently and decide which way they want to go. But I'm curious to know, what do you guys think about it? What side of the fence do you fall on, and how do you feel about DE&I being tossed out of some of these huge companies' policy programs? Thank you guys so much for stopping by and chilling with me on the corner. Until next time, guys, be peaceful, take care of yourselves, love one another. Peace.